Hello and welcome in, Mr. Carter. How are you, sir?
Good.
Good. How is Mom? I see you brought her with you.
Doing good.
You've been having a fun summer so far?
Yes, I have.
Yeah? Well, all right. Well, I'm going to talk to Mom and ask her a few questions about you. You think that'd be cool?
Yes, it will be cool.
All right. So, Mom, tell us what OEIS is.
Okay, so it's a complex of birth defects, and Carter was born with that. He also has something called Preembelly Syndrome, and they all kind of have overarching diagnosis. He was born with a floppy belly, so his bladder held a lot of fluid while he was in utero, and what happened is everything kind of stretched out, and it makes the kidney have some issues. He was only born with one kidney, so we deal with that. And he has a colostomy bag, and he had some spinal issues that they dealt with. He did have club feet, so he had some surgeries on his feet to help with that. And for the most part, we've got everything pretty under control. But for that first probably month to a year, we spent a lot of time in the hospital trying to get everything pretty stable.
Wow. Now tell me a few minutes about dealing with that life in general, just starting off with the hospital for parents out there listening. What is that life like?
Yeah, so we were lucky that we knew about a lot of his issues before we had him, so we were able to plan ahead some. Some of the things that came up were surprises, and our doctors were great. Of course, we were up at Birmingham, so there's lots of resources there. And for the first month, we were in the NICU, and NICU nurses are absolute heroes. They're wonderful. They help everything go so much smoother. And then after that first month, he had 3 surgeries during that month, and then after that, we went through probably a year of in and out of the hospital with urinary tract infections, just dealing with that, which is minor for the most part, but he had to be on those IV drugs because he was so little. So we spent a lot of time in the hospital, Ronald McDonald House that first month while we were in the NICU. That was a huge blessing. And just the support of people around us and our faith to get through that first year was because it was really tough.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm sure it is. For a lot of parents out there, that would be a huge thing to undertake, just having a child and trying to get going and understanding life and what that's all going to wrap into. Now, tell me, and knowing that information, once we got out of the hospital, what was it like for him as a child? Let's get in that baby stage or that early, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. What were those stages like?
Yeah, so all of his defects kind of took place kind of high in his midline. So there were a lot of things that they weren't sure what we were going to face. Like walking, they didn't know what that was going to look like. We knew he had pretty good motor skills in his lower end for the most part. They were able to tell us that much, but as far as what it would be like load bearing once he started trying to walk, they had no idea what was going on there. So he was about 1.5 years old when he had his first big foot and leg surgery, and he had casts up to like mid-thigh that he drug around while he crawled. He would army crawl and just kind of scoot around pulling himself. And I guess he was probably 2.5 when he started pulling up and walking on his own. And that was obviously a big deal, but at the same time, I don't even think we had questioned for a while whether or not he would, because we just slowly watched him figure things out on his own, and it was just kind of like, oh yeah, he'll get it because he's determined to do everything.
Oh, sure.
And he's still that way to this day. He's very determined, and he's just a little go-getter.
Now, is there anything that we feel like he hasn't, maybe doctors have said or might even not said, that we were accomplishments we've reached that we thought we might not get to? Or was there some that maybe happened later in life than we thought they would happen? Yeah,
definitely the walking. And then, I don't know, can you think of anything, Carter? What's something, maybe sports? Sports was something that we weren't sure we would do, and we decided to try basketball this last year, and that was a really great experience. You want to talk a little bit about basketball this year?
What are you thinking? Was it fun?
Yes, it was.
Well, good. So now tell us, obviously we're sitting here talking about you, so do you get tired playing basketball? Is there...
Not really, because our coach would basically like switch us out in the quarters. So... Okay. Really, it would be like me in first quarter, and then second quarter I would be on bench. So I wouldn't get that tired that easily. Okay. But I do get tired shortly after.
Right. So everything else then, you pretty well out there with everybody. Mm-hmm. Even dunking on them, right?
No.
Oh, what? No.
Not even close.
Oh, come on. I thought you'd be doing all that. Not yet.
How do you see my height?
Well, yeah, I've seen your height. All right, so Mom, tell us now that we've got to this part. Tell us about going into school, what has school been like for him?
Yes, so along with the height thing, he is a lot shorter than most of the kids his age. And most of the kids around him, they're just genuinely curious. So the only other physically different thing about him that people can tell from the outside is his gait is a little bit different, just from his hips being dislocated. And his belly is a little bit more distended, and he has the colostomy bag that can kind of exaggerate that sometimes. And usually that's what they have questions about, is his belly. Like, why is your belly bigger?
Right.
And for the most part, the kids that he grew up with, we go to a super small Christian school. Very blessed to be there because most of them have known him since birth, if not shortly after. All of his classmates, they pretty much started school together. And the kids really have just kind of taken up the mantle for him. And if there's a new kid that comes in and has questions, a lot of times they'll jump in before he can ever even say anything.
Wow.
But he's also never had a problem telling anybody, kids, adults, anybody, what's going on with him. And he's real succinct with how he says it, and they know what's going on.
So how does school feel to you? Are you pretty excited going?
Yes.
Yeah? You got a lot of buddies at school?
Yes, I have like the whole school basically.
Wow. Well, that's pretty neat. I don't know if anybody's got the whole school. You're popular. Wow. You're just like your dad, very popular, aren't you?
I think Coach Jim helped facilitate some of that with football.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I don't know about that. Tell me about your activities. Now, I know we just said basketball. Is there anything else you do?
I do piano, video games, hunting.
Okay.
I also do, let's see.
Toys. You like toys a lot.
Yes, I do like playing with toys in my imagination. And that's about it.
Okay, now let's for people out there listening and other kids listening, let's go back over this list again. We talked about basketball. Tell us about hunting. How in the world did you get in something like that?
You did.
Oh, I did. Okay, well tell me, do you have fun doing it?
Yes, I did actually.
So what's fun about it?
I like the people who helped me kill the deer, and I liked being in the tents with them and making jokes with them and just having fun with them.
Well, now that's pretty neat. Now, how about fishing? You ever done any of that?
Yes, I have.
Is it fun?
Yes.
What do you like about it?
I like catching the fish. I don't like the waiting part.
You don't like the waiting part? Well, nobody likes the waiting part.
No one does.
So now I know I'm going to get into a subject really close that you enjoy a ton. Tell me about video games.
Oh.
What's your favorite? You're so excited you can't even talk. Tell me the favorite game.
Fortnite.
Fortnite? Now, why is it so fun?
Either Fortnite or Overwatch.
Okay, so tell me why Fortnite's so fun.
Because you basically can have online friends, and I have one good friend, and he's really nice, and I usually play with him all day. And like you just have fun with your friends and kill people.
Okay, well at least you enjoy the game. Now, is there any characters you're into these days?
In video games?
Yeah.
Yes, actually. In Overwatch, you can choose characters.
Okay.
And in Fortnite, but Overwatch is more how do you say it?
Real life? Oh, realistic.
Yeah, realistic.
Okay.
My favorite has to be either Bastion or Reaper, because Bastion can turn into a giant tank and kill everyone in his path.
Wow.
And he can heal himself. So
okay.
That's my favorite.
Wow. So is there anything else we've left out? We cover basketball, fishing, video games, hunting. Was there anything else Carter likes doing?
Toys.
Toys?
And imagination, but
okay.
Mostly toys.
So tell me your favorite toy.
I have no clue because I have like 1,500.
Oh my gosh! So you got some parents that love you a lot, buy you a bunch of toys, huh?
But my favorite type is probably Marvel Legends.
Okay.
And my favorite Marvel Legend that I just got is the Captain America from Falcon Winter Soldier.
Wow. Okay. Well, now we're going to ask Mama some more questions. You think you can handle that?
Yeah.
Let Mama do it. Okay. So tell us some things that maybe has over the years helped him out, like things that you've noticed along the way or helped you out as parents?
I was going to say, there's probably a lot more that helped us than helped him. So the first thing that we came across was a Facebook support group.
Okay.
And he was probably a year old before I found that. And honestly, sometimes those things can get really overwhelming because there's so many people in them depending on the diagnosis. His complex is a little bit more rare, so there weren't as many people to talk to about it. But from that pool, I just kind of found a couple of parents that were that had kids around the same age as him, and that really helped because they've just been a wealth of knowledge as we've gone through different diagnoses, things that have come up, surgery options, and they've just super helpful. And also things like that aren't even medical related, really, that we found, not on the doctor realm anyway. Was searching the group one day because we were having a really hard time finding shoes for him because his feet are two completely different sizes. And for a while he was in AFOs, and that's also a challenge. But I found that somebody had left a note on there from years back in the page where Nordstrom has a program where you can buy 2 different pair of shoes or sizes and then send the odd sizes back and they'll refund you for a pair. And then other companies like Zappos have just recently started doing single shoe sales, things that we would never really think about until you find them in that page, just when you get to the frustration point that you're like, okay, I got to find something.
Right.
And just huge help once we found that.
Now, are there any, on the parent side of it, is there anything out there like state, city, federal groups? I know you said Facebook and some of these other things, but are there federal, like a Voc Rehab or somebody else out there that you've seen in the past have helped?
We did the state program for like PT and OT, which was really convenient because they'd come to the school. But as far as like just local things that we've done, probably OFF has been the biggest thing for us because even though everybody doesn't have the same diagnosis as Carter, it's still helpful to be around parents that understand the struggles of being in and out of the hospital and having a kid that deals with differences. Because for the most part, while he's very upbeat and happy and doesn't really think about it, there are those times that they get down and it's tough to deal with and other parents can't really relate.
Right. Well, now, for people that are not out there listening, tell them what this OFF is you're talking about and kind of, give them some details.
Yeah, so OFF is how we started hunting. It's Outdoor Friends Forever, and it's your foundation that you help run. And it is the most wonderful thing ever. It gets kids outside that otherwise might not have been able to be outside. And it's got wonderful volunteers that absolutely love the kids and make it just the best 3 days of their life. They eat Oreos. They feed Oreos to deer. And then in the spring, we fish. And the kids have a blast. The parents, I think, might have even more fun. And just great friendships that are formed over being in the outdoors.
Wow. Now, going off of that theme there, it sounds like that you're great to have a group of parents to be able to talk to. Is there things, I wouldn't necessarily say from OFF, but from anywhere you've been around other groups that you've taken away from parents, would you say that's a good resource as well as trying to find other parents to be friends with?
Yes, absolutely, because they're just the only ones that are going to know the ins and outs and just being able to support you as an adult, because it's not just taking care of our kids that we have to deal with. It's, jobs, being a wife, being a husband, and like in our case, Josh is a fireman, so he's not home all the time. So just having people that I can reach out to when I need them, if he's not available, that makes a world of a difference.
Right. Now, going off of that theme of what you said of parents having 2 different things to work with, your normal jobs, plus having a child you're trying to deal with to be able to meet these needs, I guess I would call it. How in his situation, I know we referred to earlier as a bag and some other things going on, how for parents out there listening, how is that, I know it's got to be a touchy subject as far as how those things are handled. Is that something you can tell people about?
Yeah, so, and a lot of that just depends on the comfort level of your child and how open they are about things. Carter, right. We've been lucky that he is not super shy about most things, so it's not that big of a deal for him to tell people that, hey, I've got a bag, so sometimes you'll see things or hear things that you might not hear otherwise right. with a normal kid. So he kind of takes it all in stride. But for other parents, I could see where that would be a challenge to approach those things. And some parents may even be just shy or weird about it. It's been our life since day one with him as young parents coming up through it. So I don't think we really even bat an eye at it anymore. But just learning to navigate those touchy situations where you have to kind of read the public. And most people genuinely just want to know what's going on. And we've always said we'd rather people ask the question so we can give them an answer and educate them than them walk away just thinking, oh, well, that kid looked weird. Like, because nobody wants people to think that about their kid.
Right. No, and that's where we get a lot of great questions and people that are asked things on this show about things that are going on in their life. Because this podcast is not the goal to be one of those podcasts where we have 1 million people out there watching this thing. We want the right families to watch so that they learn from each other, because there may be a family in Florida dealing with the same thing you guys are dealing with, and they can hear the story and start to understand, okay, they did it this way and they did this way, and it kind of helped them, overcome what they were going through. Because I'm sure, just like what you talked about, that's a big struggle right out of the gate as a parent.
Oh, absolutely. And it's something that changes over time, even like supplies. One year, one supply may work really well, and then the next it'll change. And the only people you can really get a good read from are other people who have tried different products, so you can at least get some kind of starting ground to go from.
Now, speaking along those lines of supplies, are there common places to get those, people that would know out there? And you don't have to say specific supplies, but just saying, we're not going to Walmart buying these things.
Yeah, so the good thing about the market nowadays is that even Amazon has a lot of non-durable medical supplies, such as like lubrications and stuff like that. The specialty stuff, obviously, or hospitals will help facilitate most of that, but I'm telling you, sometimes there are some bad companies out there, even that the hospitals are using. And the biggest thing is just making sure you have a team of doctors and nurses that are on your side and that are willing to work for you. Because at the end of the day, that's what you and your insurance are paying for. And we've been really lucky, especially like with his urological supplies. In the past year, we've been through some major changes. We ended up changing companies completely right before COVID hit, which was also a blessing to get established before all of that crazy started. But the first company just was not staying on top of things for us. They wouldn't send us supplies on time. We were having issues with things not being filled. And finally, one of our nurses, I called her and I was just like at my wit's end, and I was like, I need help. Like, we can't keep doing this, because it's frustrating when something that is absolutely necessary for your child's life isn't coming on time.
Right.
So I was just in tears one day after I got off the phone with the company and called the nurse and was like, I need help with this. And she switched us to another company that they had started trying to use that has a local rep. And ever since that, it's been smooth sailing.
Wow. Well, it's like you said, it sounds like a big blessing.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Carter, got a question for you.
Yes.
Tell me your favorite foods.
Doritos.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Oh yeah. Pizza
Yeah.
and cheese quesadillas.
Okay. So now that's an odd combination there.
Yes,
Sounds like a lot of cheese.
Yes.
Oh
wait, no, take out the cheese quesadilla and put in steak.
Okay, now
like
we're
steak.
getting somewhere. Okay. So what made us like cheese quesadillas? What's so fun about them? Cheese?
Yes.
Yes.
Melted cheese
I got you.
and a tortilla.
Okay.
The best thing you could ever have.
Wow, best thing ever. And pizza the same way? Cheese and bread, sounds like?
Yes.
So it sounds like you're a cheese fan.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mama and Daddy needs to get into like the cow business and make some milk and cheese. And
No.
oh, you don't think they could handle that? All right, so
I know Mom wanted.
Oh yeah,
No cows for me.
No.
cows. She's not a cow fan. All right, so tell us a funny story about Carter.
So I don't know that it's so much a funny story, just as much as his life in general and the weird things that he comes up with. But he was born without a belly button.
Uh-oh.
And for whatever reason, he is fascinated by them. And he has always just been so amazed by them. And we tell him all the time that he's jealous that he doesn't have one. But, I mean, really, like, they're so useless and don't really do anything. So it's just weird that he is so jealous of belly buttons when most of us probably wouldn't miss them if they were gone.
So what do you think? Why is the belly button so funny?
Because it's not fair that I don't have one.
I think it's like Mom said. A lot of us would probably give you one because it's not really a big deal. You miss it that much?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. So tell me, when you grow up, what do you want to be?
What was it called?
What was it called?
Mechanical engineer.
Yes, I'm a mechanical engineer, so I can build falcon wings and fly over the city and beat everyone up who's trying to rob a bank.
Wow. Now that's pretty cool.
I wanted to be Iron Man. Mom said that's not real.
Mom. You know there's
Not
a lot
yet,
of
it's not.
there's a lot of kids out there listening that want to be Iron Man too, don't they?
Most likely.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Iron Man, I want you to tell me about your dad. I heard he's into like lifting iron, these weights. Did he win some kind of competition?
Yes.
What did he win? Firefighting something?
Oh, combat challenge, yeah.
Oh, yeah, combat talent.
Okay, so can you tell me about that?
No.
You can't?
Forgot.
You forgot. All
We
right.
didn't get to do it at all during COVID.
So we'll let Mom tell us what it is. What is Combat Challenge?
Yeah, so it's a competition for firefighters. It's built around skills that they do, and they travel the country to show people basically how fit firefighters can be to do their job.
Wow.
And Montgomery had a team, I guess, 2019. They won Worlds
Okay.
out in Sacramento, California. So that
Well,
was
that's pretty cool.
Yep.
So you got like Iron Man living at your house then, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. How's it cool to have a world champion living in your house?
Awesome.
A lot bigger than a state champion, huh? Yeah?
Yes,
Yeah.
would.
So do you ever get out and lift weights with your dad?
Yes, sometimes.
Because we got a lot of kids now that'll be listening, and moms and like to know, is these things that they can do? You think other kids can get out there and lift with dad and mom?
Heck yeah.
Well,
If I can, I can. Anyone can.
well, see, that's what we like to hear. If you can do it, anybody can do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What else, Carter? Tell me, when you go to school, what's your favorite subject?
I gotta either say science
Uh-huh.
or history.
Okay, and why?
Because I like history because it's fascinating.
Okay.
Science because I want to be a mechanical engineer and there's a lot of science in there.
Wow. Well, that's pretty good. Now we're going to switch it over and ask Mom the question. What are our goals now that he's got him an idea of what he wants to do with this engineering? What are our goals to get him there?
Well, he's going to have to work on that whole effort thing.
Uh-oh.
We're at that age, that he's 10 going into 5th grade. So he's at that like pre-teeny stage where they start to kind of see what they can get away with or not do as far as school goes.
Wow.
So he's learning that the more effort he puts in, the more it pays out.
Oh.
So we don't expect him to be perfect. We don't want straight A's just for the sake of straight A's. But when he comes home with B's and C's and we ask him like, did you give 100%? Like, did you really study for that?
Right.
And he's like, no. Well, then the next time when we push him a little harder to study more and the grade turns around, it's like, oh, wow, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
See what happens.
So,
But yeah, we want him to do whatever he does really well
right.
because we like excellence.
So now thinking in not only in our things we got going for him going forward, but the medical side of things, is the future to where we can get him to be able to take care of everything himself? Are we wanting him to be able to independent, live on his own, do all that fun stuff?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he's already just in the past, probably 2-3 years, he's really started taking responsibility of his care and his body. And that's hard, especially for little boys, because they tend to not focus so much on stuff like that.
Correct.
But we've tried to do our best to let him do things on his own, which is very difficult as a parent sometimes because it's so much easier sometimes to just jump in and do it for him for the sake of time or convenience.
Sure.
But he does a really good job of trying to do it himself. And if he needs help, he always asks for it.
Well, that's the good thing that he's willing to ask for it, because there's a lot of families, again, out there that are listening that want to know what the future looks like. Like we've set out some goals and things you want to get Carter into as he gets older, some things we definitely want him to be able to be where he can live on his own. I happen to know a professional fisherman out there that's got a wife and 3 kids, and they travel on the road all over the country, and he's exactly the same. He has a bag that he cleans out after he gets done fishing every day, and you would never know one single thing different about this man. And he's got a very similar story in how he worked through his stuff, and it just all came together for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're going to try to wrap this thing up. You got anything else you'd like to say?
No.
For any kid out there listening?
No, sir.
Nothing? So if the kids want to play you in Fortnite, how do they look you up?
Got your username?
Yeah.
Yes, actually. It's JoshP270.
Okay.
And look me up. I'm gonna 1v1 you, and if you're not good, get the heck out of my lobby.
Wow. So what's a 1v1? Tell me what that is real quick.
It's basically where it's either me and another person go out at each other.
Okay.
And whoever wins, and boom, I'm the king of Fortnite.
Oh, okay.
He's super humble too.
Wow. Sounds like you got it going on then.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So once they add you on Fortnite, is there anything else, like anything you want to tell anybody before you go?
Nope.
Just enjoy life?
Yep. Enjoy life. Have it because you need it. You only have one, and live it big time.
That I enjoy, Mama.
There we go.
That's probably a great way to end things, Carter. Wow. So if we were going to wrap this thing up and put this thing as we call come to an end here, and at the end of life, and we were reading the story of Carter, what would you want people to read in his book, and what would just really be the bow on this whole thing?
I think I would want people just to remember his joy for life. He's always been such a happy kid, and he's never really let anything get him down. And even when he was in pain or when he was sick for long periods of time, he always managed to smile, and everybody would always say, man, nothing slows him down. But I think that's the biggest thing, is that we just want him to be a happy person, because there are not many positive people left in the world these days.
That's very true. Well, and I really have enjoyed listening to the story. I know that there's a lot of families out there that have taken pieces and parts away from this thing to be able to add to their life and hopefully get them through some hurdles of things that they may be going through and trying to deal with. Thank you very much, Carter, for coming and hanging out with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mom, for coming and hanging out with us.
Thanks for having us.
And hopefully when we grow this story ahead a few years, we'll bring you back again. You want to do that?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much both for coming.